Hey guys, welcome back. Bolt Spider here. Now, I haven't done one of these videos in a bit, and I think it's a little too early still, but I would want to get my opinions out there because I've been seeing a few people uploading their thoughts on what the ban list is going to be and when it's going to be. A lot of people are saying it's going to be in April. I'm going to be saying it's going to be about early May, mid-May, because we don't have regionals up to May 15th, so it could be after that. Now let's get right into it, and the forbidden section is kind of just obvious of what everyone wants. Artifact Scythe and Predaplant Verte Anaconda, and these two I feel like they just need to go as they create a unhealthy side of the game. Now Artifact Scythe is one of those cards that players have been always wanting to get banned, and I do have to agree on this because it limits the gameplay, and it's also super easily accessible by things like Beatrice, the Eternal Lady, and Artifact Sanctum along with Artifact Dagda. People say ban Dagda, that's not going to work because people are willing to side or even main Artifact Sanctum. Or even just doesn't affect them and they just play Beatrice to send it to the graveyard to summon it with Barone. And Verte, we all know about Verte, it's just that one card that is splashable in every single deck, and it's going to be worse when the Albaz Strike Structure deck comes out because it allows everyone to get a version of Mirror Jade out because you just need your 3 branded fusion, your 1 Albaz, your 1 Verte, and possibly a copy of Luber. So you just instantly use Verte and your Albaz just to fusion summon into the Mirror Jade. So it gives access to a fusion summon at the end of your combo, and it's just 2 monsters, just like how Nightmare Mermaid was. And finally, my wild card for bans is Mechafana Beast Auroradon. I feel like the token generator is going to get hit over Halqifibrax. Konami has a tendency of hitting token generators, as we saw with Sky Tomahawk, Grindagolem, Gofu, even Blackwing Steam the Cloak, instead of Halqifibrax. So, and it's one of those cards that they can make money off of it easily. I think that they're going to hit Auroradon over Hulk because they could still sell Hulk, but with Auroradon they cannot because it was an overprinted ultra rare, and everyone has it. And that is my opinion on that. I do have to say that tuners, certain ones could come back like Jet Synchron, but other than that, I feel like Auroradon's the right target because it leads into so many plays. It leads into a level 4 Synchro, it leads into a level 8 Synchro. You can even go to Cupid Pitch and Herald if you want. So it's just one of those cards that I definitely feel that it could get hit. Now we're going on to the limited section. We're going on because it's going to be super small. I don't really see much getting hit. I see a few cards getting released, but other than that, just a few cards could get hit. First off, we have Blaster Dragon Rulers of the Inferno. This card is a card that is a 2-for-1 destruction, and I don't really think it's that good anymore. Not many decks could play it, only really Salamangreat could play it as a tech option. Maybe if they could. And Dragon Rulers, overall, I feel like all can come back to 1 at one point. Along with having the babies at 3, they still won't do much. And after that, we have a Branded Opening. Branded Opening is one of these cards that allow you to enable so much in the Despia deck, but it's not really hurting them. It just hurts their way that you can play the Adventurer engine, but hitting this down to 1, or you could even hit it down to 2 to lower consistency a little. As I know, whenever I open this and add an Adventurer piece, it is full combo. Everything is right there. So this is just one of the cards that I think could get hit. So either semi-limited or limited. And also this card with Water Enchantress of the Temple is very nasty, because it's just not even negotiable on how much plus that is, since the Water Enchantress can activate in graveyard, you discard it to the graveyard, and you get your Luber. After that, even though I'm hitting Verte to 0, I want Fusion Destiny to go to 1, because it's going to be that card where people, is it worth running the 1 of? Even though it's going to be searchable in Branded, coming up in Dimension Force, hitting it down to 1 is a better idea, because you don't have every deck running 2 of it, the 2 pieces, and the DPE. It's now going to be less consistent. You're going to have to be running Pot of Prosperity to even want to see it, if it's your last piece you're missing. Now, overall, Fusion Destiny was completely fine before DPE, but now I feel like it can just go down to 1, and it's going to sit there. And it still has the ulti protection, in my opinion, because that's why it went down to 2 last list. Next up, we have a returning card that's always on my Forbidden Unlimited list ever since it got banned, Orcust Harp Horror. This card allows Orcust to be a competent deck again, but with how the pace of the game is right now, they can't run a lot of the pieces that are currently ran, like the Adventure Engine, because they rely on a normal summon. Unless if you send Harp to graveyard with a Orchestrated Return or an Orcust Nightmare, then you can use all of your Water Enchantress and all that. And finally, Tellarknight Ptolemaeus is the other card I'm releasing off the list. This card, I had a good hour-long discussion with people in another Discord of mine, and they all said that this card isn't as good as it once was. Not many decks are willing to put into 3 monsters to summon this, all just to get something like a Constellar Ptolemaeus, I mean, the Pleiades, and a couple other rank 5s. But if you're saying, oh, this can't come back because it gives every deck an access to Infinity, I want you to look at every single deck right now. They all have a negate that's better than Infinity. They all do. They can pump out multiples. This is just going to be there. It's just going to be sitting. But I feel like it's finally time for Ptolemaeus to just come off, because it will help Tellarknights. And really only Tellarknights. And they haven't been doing anything since 2019 because they only got 1 top that year. And the final limited card, we have Tinny Spirit Shuna to hit things like Sword Soul, Adventure, Synchro, GS, and all that. But I feel like Tinny Spirit Shuna is the right hit because it summons 1 from the deck, and it's also a free extender, so hitting this down to 1 makes it where they have less copies of each Tinny for the situation. But also they still had the 3 Adhara, the 3 of Bashara, but Ashona, it's the one that, for me, is going to go. Now on to the semi-limited section. The semi-limited section is a section that really caters to peeling stuff off. Now, I'm following some of the OCG here, and also, in my opinion, some of the cards that TCG can peel off as well. First off, we've Astrograph Sorcerer. This went to 1 last list. This hasn't done anything, so it's perfectly fine that it can go to 2, then go to 3. Divine Winds in the Mist Valley can finally come off the list because it really isn't going to do anything. It's not going to do anything if people say, oh, there's a loop that you could do. Ancient Fairy Dragon's banned. A lot of your token gens are banned that cause this, and a few other interactions are limited on the list. So I feel like it's time for this to get that can come off. Do I even need to mention this? This card hasn't been doing anything since 2016? Do I have to talk about it? I really hope I don't have to talk about it. It's a card that's just either a scale or extender. It could come back to 3. Lunalight Tiger went to 1 last list. It can go back, come off the list to 2, because I feel like it's one of those cards that it aged poorly, or it aged good, but the deck isn't good like it used to be. Next up, we have the duo, Rite of Armesia and Water Enchantress. These two can go to 2, straight to 2, because they still want to profit off the set, and just hit them down to 2 to slow down the consistency a little, make deck building a little weird. We have to run 2 Rite, 2 Aquamancer, 1 Griffin, 1 Fate, and 1 Draco back. Sure, the engine gets smaller, but you have less likely chances of seeing them. Next up, we have Servant of Enderion. This has just been sitting on the list for the past, what, 2-3 years? It could finally start getting peeled off. Same for Trishula. Trishula just went to 2 in the OCG, and I feel like this is the one card that can come back to 3, depending on what is meta, and what's meta is not this. And finally, we have the Unlimit, so I can get this off. And for the Unlimit, it's just really self-explanatory. A hero lives, it went to 2 last lists, it can go to 3 since we're limiting Fusion Destiny. Salman Great Circle, it went to 2 last lists, it can go to 3. Scapegoat went to 2, now can go to 3. And then my 2 other cards, Knight Assailant, I see going to 3 because we have an errata coming for it. It says target 1 flip monster in your graveyard except this card right now, but with the errata it's going to be target 1 flip monster in your graveyard except Knight Assailant, a thing that needed to happen long ago, but it isn't really needed. It really wasn't needed, as this card is not as good as it once was. The errata just fixes a design flaw that it had from back in the day, so there you go. And finally, Wall of Revealing Light. This card can go to 3. It can go to 3 100% and it won't do anything. I feel like Wall of the Revealing Light is just the forgotten trap that is on the list. And I feel like that going to 3 does nothing. But there could be some complications with Life Equalizer, Magical Explosion, but if you want to bring that up, just ban Magical Explosion at that point. But anyways, I hope you guys did like these predictions. It is definitely a different step of take that I had from last one where I had so much more, but it's about half of what I had. But I hope you guys did enjoy. Hit that like button down below. Comment your thoughts as well, because I'd like to know your opinions on what should get hit and what shouldn't get hit, or what could be released and what couldn't be released. But anyways, I've been Bolt Spider. See you guys in the next video, and goodbye.